today's the day, Gas Monkey fans. You're gonna get to see our rendition of a Polaris Slingshot. Now, when Polaris reached out to me and wanted me to build a Slingshot, I was like, you know what? As long as I can do it Gas Monkey way, because I don't like to be told what to do, and I usually come up with something that's pretty creative and pretty otherworldly, if you will. And they gave me that creative license, and I went to work on drawing it, getting it all done up, showed it to Chase and the rest of the team, and they agreed with the style. For once, they agreed with me. But check it out. Then they got to build it. And they started with my Slingshot, and we went pretty freaking crazy. So let's just pull it off and show it to them.
Come on.
Drum roll, please. Boom! What you have here is a Gas Monkey Slingshot. This thing is as rad as it gets. It's a little over the top, I know, but that's what Gas Monkey does. One of the things that was first and foremost was I wanted to get this thing up in the air. We've seen them lowered, we've seen them with neon lights, we've seen them with big wheels and giant stereo systems, and I wanted to do something just a little bit more different. So what do we call this here, Gas Monkey? I'm calling this the Gas Monkey Urban Assault Slingshot. First thing you'll notice about the Slingshot is its height. As we've always said here at Gas Monkey, 90% of the attitude is the altitude, and we wanted this thing up in the air and on some big treads, and that's exactly what we did. I turned the project over to Chase and the team with basically just a drawing from Gerald Martin. He came up and talked with me through my head and got it down on paper, and then I handed it to them to get it done. And they really outdid themselves on this vehicle. All the suspension is custom handmade. Chase, why don't you tell us a little bit about what you started with as far as the suspension, because that was the hard part. We went and talked to some other people that do different types of vehicles, and they were like, I don't know how you're gonna pull that off.
Right, so yeah, that was the biggest struggle. So we found companies that would make an upper tubular control arm, or they'd make this or they'd make that, but no one actually made a full suspension kit for this. So what we did is we took the stock control arm and we made it our own. So we made tubular control arms, upper and lowers. We used ballistic joints for the control arm bushings. We even put a different sway bar in here that's a little bit stronger, made our own sway bar links, made our own tie rod ends. That's all Heim joints, so everything's all Heim, so we can get the most travel out of the suspension as possible. I think we're up 4 or 5 inches in travel.
Since everything was custom made, we had to extend it out a little bit more, so that's why all the custom tie rod and everything comes out.
And then we did a shock hoop just to hold these big, massive Fox shocks in here. And that also helps with the ride quality as well.
And then I reached out to Polaris and said, can you guys make me a custom hood for my Slingshot? Can you do something a little different? I need these holes here. And they were excited to do it, so they got it for me. And I told Chase, I said, well, here's my Slingshot, and here's this cool hood I want to use, and this is what it's supposed to look like, so do it.
So just breaking it down real fast, we built a full custom front bumper for it to give us more ground clearance with a skid plate that was plasma cut on our table back there. We have rock sliders all the way from front to back that actually tie into the roll cage up top.
We had to make custom side panels.
Oh yeah,
for the clearance.
So if you look over here, the side panels were much more farther in, and they had a big fender flare. So we trimmed that back in, made these panels to wrap all the way around so we can clear these big 35 tires, and then we went and did the roll cage and did a roof rack on top of it, and added these awesome KC lights. This was all made in-house as well. We then come into the back, like I was saying before, we tied it in, the roll cage to the rock sliders using this bar here. It's actually, so the roll cage is tied in standalone, so it is tied into the factory roll bars and up by the mirrors where the mirror's mounted. So that's standalone by itself. We added this to tie in the rock sliders. Coming to the back, we did the whole swing arm out of 1/4-inch plate. So that's all that was started as a flat sheet. We bent it all in house and welded it all up here. We had to get a longer belt. So like the Fox shocks up front, we put a massive one in the back with a remote reservoir that is also held onto the roll cage / rock sliders. Oh yeah, Victor made these kick-ass straps to hold our tanks in there.
Exhaust.
Coming to the exhaust, we did 3-inch from the header out with a MagnaFlow muffler. So that's coming straight out of our panel that we made in-house. And that's pretty much for all the fabrication that we did in-house. Everything was made in-house. Nobody really has parts, especially for 2021 yet. So we're kind of R&D and everything by ourselves. So it's pretty kick-ass that we got to do that in-house.
Heck yeah. So one of the things you'll notice first is that we used the stock rim for the Polaris Slingshot that it came with. We gave it a little color treatment, made it a little style so it could wrap up these Nitto 35-inch tires. So you're gonna ask me, why'd you do that, Richard? Well, if you know anything about what's going on in the supply chain right now, et cetera and so forth, we just could not find a wheel that I liked. And I am a big fan of using what is put on a vehicle when it's original. There's probably millions of dollars worth of R&D money in this wheel. Why change it? It works. It's the right one for the vehicle. It looks good, and it's set up the way that it needs to be per R&D when they've been designing these things forever. So who am I to go put an aftermarket wheel on it? So one of the first things that was on the drawing is we got rid of a lot of stuff. If you look at the stock Polaris Slingshot, it's got a lot of wind valances and different tunnels down here and more lighting and et cetera. And to give it the look that we wanted to, we just needed to get rid of all that. So basically we unbolted it all. What we ended up keeping was just the lights on each side and the one in the middle, and that kind of gave us our shape for the front end. From there, it was easy to build the front bumper and the rock slider and the sliders all the way around the vehicle, and it just gave it all form and function. One of the things that I wanted to do was make sure that we were using the original points for the roll bar and or any of the facilities that are going to help us in case of an accident. This is the part of the frame that has the most support, and this is where the rear view mirror was actually installed. But we had to take that piece off, form our roll cage, and then put the mirrors back on, and we made them a little bit higher and gave them a little bit more attitude because you're up in the air on this thing and you want to see everything that's going on behind you. So if you've been paying attention to these videos, one of the original pieces of artwork that we did showed the spare tire up here, and it looked really good, but it wasn't proportional once we lifted it up and put it up there. It just didn't look right, and so we ditched that idea, and that's the cool part about building here at Gas Monkey. We get the idea, we get it on paper, make sure it sort of works, and from there we can adapt. So everything on this vehicle is custom made by us, except for this nifty little windshield. All we did was trim it down a little bit and give it a tint. Boom, we're good to go. It's got the stock interior in it. You can wash it off with a hose, spray it down, and get on down the road. So one of the things that you'll notice is the vehicle is not black or green. I went with this desert tan because I like it, and I've always wanted to build a vehicle with it. I went with the high impact orange because I think it stands out the best. And then when my guy from Skins Wrap was here wrapping the orange part of it, I just kind of stood there and we'd put it here or there, and I'd take a look at it. And the design kind of came once he was here kind of throwing down vinyl, and I think it works out. It's got a high impact look to it, and it'll definitely grab your attention. This is one build that I'm really, really proud of. Chase and his team, Victor and Kenny and Phipps, really went after it. We built this thing very, very quickly. We had a short time frame to get to SEMA. You got to tell me, what was the hardest part? Because everything here is custom, and I just gave you a picture and told you to do it.
Well, so the hardest challenging part of it was that it's 3 wheels, and so everything we normally work on has 4 wheels, has a solid axle in the back. We're able to play with suspension, and we don't have to worry about wheel placement because it's there. So, but we had to actually design and build that swing arm. I've never built a swing arm before, so that was one of the most challenging parts about it, was getting that geometry right and making sure that everything was going to run down the road as straight as true as possible.
Chase and his team are unbelievably talented, but Chase is only 22 years old, and you're going to SEMA with a SEMA build that you did.
Yeah, first time to SEMA, first time with a build. So this is a pretty big milestone.
That's the way to do it. I mean, when I did Pebble Beach, it was my first time to go, and I had a car on the lawn. So you are stepping up into the game now. It's going to be cool.
Yeah, it's super rad. I'm super excited.
So there you go. Gas Monkey's first Slingshot build. It's over the top. It's cool. Chase and his team nailed it. They got it done on time. It's at SEMA, and now the world has seen it. So if I got to say anything, I got to say thanks to my crew because they're the ones that make this stuff happen. I'm just the crazy guy with the crazy ideas. I also want to thank Polaris Slingshot for letting us do this because they let us make our mark, and that's what you need to do. Slingshot, make your mark.